one, I never thought this was going to be me sitting up here, just to be very clear, right? We had just moved to our farm. That first year, we didn't know how we were going to keep the heat on, which is very important in the middle of winter in North Dakota. And so I had started writing, and my goal at that time, my husband was working 60 plus hours a week in construction. And so at that time, I was like, I just want to make enough money one day to pay one of our credit card bills. So he doesn't have to work quite so hard, right? So all that to say, there was no extra funds. We needed heat before I needed an audiobook or art or any of that. So I always tell people who are writing their first book, you don't need it all right away. You need a book. You need a book. You don't need the character art. You don't need the audiobooks. You don't need, everything costs you time or money. I had no money. So I took a class on how to do book covers, like really honed in on my genre, what was working, and I designed even my first book covers. The Lady of Darkness covers, I designed those. I hated every single second of it. I wanted to throw the computer out the window, but it was my only option. So then when we got to Legacy, and they were like, were you gonna do? No, we are hiring that out. But that's my biggest thing is a lot of people come in and think they need all this stuff, and you don't. You don't need it all right away.
I was so mean to myself a few years ago. It took me forever to write Dream by the Shadows, and I had dealt with a lot of that fear of like wanting to be perfect and how can I make this book perfect, and you can't be perfect. You can't be perfect in all things. So my advice would be to be kind to yourself and to enjoy the process more. You get so wrapped up in like the bar never keeps getting higher and higher, and if you're constantly looking to that next thing, it is going to make this a very depressing and anxiety-ridden journey. So to try to find joy more in the process, and then to just feel that there's not, I also had this pressure of, oh, there's a ticking clock, and if I don't get this book written and this book published by X amount of time, then I'm never going to be sitting up here. This is also like, I would have never thought I'd be up here right now. There's not a ticking clock. It feels like there is, but if you can try to silence that and try to just enjoy writing for what it is, enjoy the craft of writing, it's hard for me to say this, enjoy revising and editing, read lots of books, and just have fun with that experience. I think there's so much pressure to like the achievement, the thing at the end, when the journey is truly where there's a lot of joy to be found. And the more pressure you put on yourself and the meaner that you are to yourself, I was not kind to little Logan. And it did take me a while to finally finish writing my book. So
when I did my indie publish, I've always been this person who is very delusional, and if someone else has done something and been successful at it, I just don't think there's any reason why it couldn't happen for me. There is a proven track record. It happened for someone, like, why not me? Occasionally I am really nice to myself and I'm like, yeah, queen, it can be you. Yeah, but then I turn it around and I'm like, it'll never be you, you suck. Yeah, it's an up and down, there's no middle. But I watched a lot of what other people had done in terms of marketing. I looked at like how people in the genre were doing their covers, like what was the style, what do they look like, and I don't recommend this part, okay? This part I do not recommend to anybody, very irresponsible. Okay, I was dead broke, nothing. I was like Googling bankruptcy. I was like, how does that work? And I put everything I had into the indie published version, everything. I was like, max out the credit cards, like whatever. At that point I didn't have a job, no income. So I think when I published the indie version, I had about $200 left to my name. No source of income, but I was just like, whatever, it's gonna work out. Yes, and it did. I was like booking like artists for like a couple months out, and I was like, and by that point, there will be money to pay them.
We did the indie thing where you just release. So we did the rapid release thing. I got so burned out. And to the point where I could barely write. I wasn't even, like I could come up with story ideas, but I couldn't get anywhere with them. And so the money started drying up because when you rely on that rapid release schedule, it kind of, when you don't keep releasing books, then things fall away.